giving it up to the universe and goddess, and yeah, it feels good. It feels like all of that nervous tension just gets dissipated when I sit presently with it and then like breathe and let it go.
Awesome. Cindy, thank you for sharing. I was noticing some of kind of the same, noticing some of the same stuff. Like we all have stuff coming up, and in life, like that's not ever going to go away. It's not. That's part of the human experience. But changing our relationship with the emotions that come up as we move through our stuff is, that's where the goods are. And even me, sometimes, like, I just need to sit and remind myself, you know what? I really am not in control of this. There are some things that I am just not in control of. And to be quite honest, I really don't know what I'm in control of at all. And so sometimes really just taking a moment and just being like, hey, you know what? I trust and I surrender to the fact that I know that my higher self and the universe and God, they have my back. And they are always conspiring for my good. Mm-hmm. And it's not always going to look like how I think it's going to look up here. And that's really okay, because I know that they have my back. And so, so that was a total selfish little meditation going on. But Cindy, I'm super glad that you benefited from it.
Absolutely.
What else did everybody notice? Annette?
Just like this connection of like-mindedness and like the same, vibration of, and the release just coming down from my busy head, and then coming into an agreement with what I want to say, to just agreeing to come into this space that's quality and safe, really. So that's what I felt.
Awesome. Thank you, Annette, for sharing.
Yeah. One thing I love about the President's exercise is like how quickly you can go from that state of, oh my goodness, in my head running, like, I'm late for this call. I have this, to like, hey, everything's okay.
Yeah.
Good. Like, we're good. And like, how long did it take? Like all of maybe a minute, maybe two. Mm-hmm. Like how quickly that's accessible to us. Like, and how easily it is, like, for me to forget. Oh, I can get present. I can get with it. Like, really right at my fingertips. All I have to do is take a second, take a breath, and just like, okay, yeah, let it go, because it's all good. Because like Amanda said, really, what do we have control of? Like nothing. Like, honestly, like we
guys,
like, I get to control
not a
this.
damn thing.
It's none. Nothing. Yeah. And when I get to that space and realize that, yeah, like sometimes it's still scary, but then it's also like the magic that happens from that place is beautiful and amazing.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Awesome. So I want to make sure that we are jumping into what each of you ladies are bumping up against this week so that we can make sure to dive into those things. So we've got about 45 minutes, and I realize that my battery is about to die on my computer, so let me plug that in. So we've got about 45 minutes, and one of the things that I wanted to really quickly address, it was a common theme in the WooFoo forums that came through this week from some of you ladies. I think there was only one person that got through all of the bliss work and all of the content this week. And it's okay. Like, what I want to speak to is that I don't want you beating any, like, oh, I didn't get it done, right? And we tend to like go into beating ourselves up about that. And instead of that, what I would invite you to do is to appreciate what you have done and appreciate the way that you continue to show up consistently and appreciate the effort and the time that you do put in and the ways that you are allowing yourself to be blessed by this. And in addition to that, I felt like, and Michelle and I, we discussed this a little bit, that we feel like we also want to offer some grace and allow those of you women that have not completed and that you're feeling behind, which is, as far as I can tell, everybody but one woman, we are going to give kind of a grace week. And so this week we are going to not drop the new content, and we are going to invite you to get caught up and complete, like to recommit to getting caught up and complete. And then also, as you've been going through some of this bliss work, there have been certain ones that have really stood out for each of you as individuals, and they've been different for every single person. And so what I would love for you guys to do is to pick that one, whether it's one of the meditations that was recorded for you, maybe it was one of the different processes, maybe it was one of the other tools, to this week go and sit with that one that you feel called to sit with this week. And again, like, give yourself grace, give yourself love, and just recommit. And we're going to call this week a recommit week, and that allows everybody to drop that weight that we sometimes feel when things on our list are incomplete. And so we want to like patch up our energy drains around feeling like things are incomplete. And then once those energy drains are done, we can move forward into the next week of content. That just goes for you women that have been in it. Annette, you're getting your stuff.
Yes.
Annette, yours is coming, girl. I will be sending that to you right after we get off of this call.
Okay, cool.
So I will be sending that to you. But yes, for everybody else, take this as a week to catch up. And then also to allow yourself the time to sit and be with one of the processes, one of the meditations, or one of the tools that we have given to you this week. Michelle, is there anything you want to share on that? Anything that I may have missed?
No, I think you said it all really beautifully. Yeah, we just kind of got the feeling that just to kind of get that, to be able to spend a little bit more time with the content before diving in and giving you more, not to be overwhelmed. And then also just kind of give you time to integrate. Like, a lot of the stuff that we've been giving you has like brought up different things and different emotions. So just giving you some little more time to be able to integrate with it. So, yep, nope, you said it perfectly.
Awesome.
Lay down.
Awesome.
Lay down.
So we're training dogs over here. If you guys can't hear that, we are all sorts of excited.
That's awesome.
Probably don't give her the candy though. The candy could, okay, perfect. Sorry guys. This is all new. This is day 2 with our pup. So I do want to jump on into what everybody's bumping up against this week. Is there any of you that want to go first?
I do need to get back to work.
Okay, so Cindy, let's jump into with what you've got going on. So you sent in on your form, like, awesome, and I seriously want to just appreciate you in the way that you are choosing to surrender over and over and over again, and like not breathe that in, because you are doing it like a freaking badass goddess that you are. Like surrendering over and over and over again, especially in the world of like your finances, right? And creating and being willing and open to receiving whatever inspiration, and then massively taking action on it. So I am definitely like applauding you and appreciating you and acknowledging you for what you're doing there.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
It's been awesome to witness. It's been absolutely awesome to witness. So the number one challenge that you sent in, is that what you're still feeling like you're struggling the most with, or is there anything else that is coming up that would be more support in moving forward?
No, that's something that it's been coming up over and over again for a long time.
Okay.
It's funny though, what we just barely went over at the beginning of the call with our presencing exercise definitely addressed it.
Well, and there you go.
It's just like, yeah, I want my husband to step into a different place, and I don't have control over it, and I know I don't have control over it, and like my lack of surrender in that area is causing my suffering, and I see that. It's still judging the hell out of it.
Yeah. Judging the hell out of it, judging the hell out of him. Like, so like witnessing you, Cindy, over the last several months has been absolutely mind-blowing to me. How much you have shifted and moved, and like the way that you are standing in like this solid place and in the solid woman that you are has been absolutely beautiful. Like, to tune into the way you like felt before and then the way that you feel now, it's like, I'm like, holy mind blown. Like, holy mind blown.
Yeah.
And you're right. Massive shifts. And you can't, like, you're right. You can't force him. You can't drag him. You can't make him. You can't take away his free will. You can't take away his agency. But the thing is what you are doing is that every single time you choose to stand in like that place of knowing, and you choose to stand in like the goddess that you are, every single time that you are in that space and you come from that space, you are energetically inviting him to come along. And the way that you create that to, for lack of a better term, move faster, is you continue with your growth and your progression. And energetically, like it's a natural byproduct. When we up level, we invite the people in our most like that next ring closest to us, like our inner circle. Those people get directly, like, they're the ones that get hit with the tidal wave first.
Good. Bring on the tidal wave.
Doesn't it feel like that sometimes though? Like, I love that you said that, because that's really what it feels like. You're like, oh my gosh, that one just like hit me in the face. But also know too, like, Cindy, like what's happening is because like the people that you're around, there's like kind of like an attachment, and I'm not using it in a bad way, like a bad attachment. No, we're like naturally like connected to people. Mm-hmm. And when you move, it's kind of like there is a tension that comes because you've moved to a different space. And so that pull is, he's feeling it, and it's this pull is like, well, I either get to move with her or I get to, like movement gets to happen. And usually at the beginning, when you feel the pull, because he's naturally feeling it because you've moved and because you are connected, and it's not the same way. He's naturally feeling the pull.
It literally feels like the pull is there and he is digging his heels into the ground. It's like, I want to stay right here. No change.
And that is so normal. It's like that, like what's happening is so normal. Like, yes, that's exactly what's happening, and perfect. Like, that's the perfect place to be. It's like, because it's kind of like one time when someone tells you to move and you're like, oh, well, how do I even know if I want to go? Like, the natural reaction is when someone pulls against you, you pull back. Like, that's just natural. Like, even try it. Like, if someone pushes against you, you push back. Like, it's just the natural way that we do things. And so know that he's in that natural space. And so instead, usually like, but when someone's like pulling against me and I pull back and then they pull, like, I want to pull harder. And so that little tug of war happens, but also knowing just to kind of breathe into it. Like, okay, perfect. It's happening the exactly right, natural way that it's supposed to at this point. Mm-hmm. And what he's coming up to is he's being pulled. And as you kind of almost stop pulling, and you can't stop pulling because you've moved, but even if energetically you're saying like, hey, it's okay where you're at. I'm going to keep moving and you can stay. To be totally fine, you can stay. But the pull will naturally keep happening anyways. But instead of thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm moving and you have to move too, which is, again, normal and natural because I do it too. It's like, no, this place is better. Like, I've tried it and it's freer and it's this and I know you're going to love it. But he's used to something different. And even though, like we talked about, like, I don't remember what call, even when you're used to something different and maybe you don't like it and maybe it feels uncomfortable, but you're still used to that yucky feeling, and that's like your yucky feeling that you've had, and so there's still a loss that will happen. And it's one that he's kind of like, okay, he's feeling it, and where he gets to move along, it might have not been his first choice, but because you moved, he's moving. And so it will just take time for him to just be really kind of almost energetic, like, hey, it's okay, you can stay there as long as you want. This is where I'm going because it honors me, but if you never want to come, I will still love you, and it's okay. You don't have to come to this point in order for you to be enough, for me to love you, for me to show up for you. But I'm also not going to stay back here either.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I just share a real life experience that happened this week?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I ran over a screw and I got a flat tire.
You got screwed.
And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, on Saturday night. And I was like, okay, like let's see what's going to come out of this. Like, here we go. And so just like, okay, like random thing happened. Really curious what is going to come of this. So what came of it was spending, we ended up driving my car to Zach's work, leaving it at his work because I didn't want to drive on a donut to my house in the mountains. Took his work truck from work to our house, and it just turned into like this whole debacle, like changing a flat tire. Like, who knew how much running around it could possibly cause. And then it ended up turning into like this argument between me being like, I can just do it myself. If you don't want to help me, then like, I'll just do it myself. Like, I don't want you to help me out of obligation. And so it turned into this whole argument and kind of blew up in my face. And I chose to leave, which is my natural reaction, is to run away. But I really didn't feel like we were in a space where we were going to talk productively. It was just going to turn into like more of a nasty argument. So I left, and then I came back to it last night, and was like, hey, let's continue this conversation. And it was such a more productive and loving conversation because we had stepped away and then come back, which was the advice you guys gave me last week. So anyway, just wanted, so that's I guess that's why I got a flat tire.
Yay! So you get to practice. You practice this week.
Yay!
Awesome job.
To me, that's huge. That's way, way huge. Like, that's amazing. I love that.
Yes.
And now you have proof. Like, look, okay, hey, sometimes taking space, like what it looks like it works.
Yep.
Yeah, and taking space doesn't mean that you're taking a step back in your relationship.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Because we sometimes have this we think, oh, I'm taking, 2 steps forward, and then 1 step back. If I'm taking space, that's me taking a step back in a way that we are digressing, when really what it is was it actually opened up space for you guys to have a productive conversation. Exactly. For you guys to get to a place where you could make some agreements and you could meet some resolutions and find some solutions. And so sometimes taking a step back is simply just opening up space to let our higher selves go to work. Because even in those moments, like when you took a step back, your higher self was still going to work with his higher self.
Yeah.
They were
huge for me. Sorry, I don't mean.
No, it's okay. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome, Annette. So it's okay, and the stories that we put on, like those stories and judgments that we put on taking a step back, is like what either can make it or break it. It's like, hey, I'm taking a step back to open up space, right? Versus, I'm taking a step back. Shit, I just regressed in my relationship. Or what are other people going to think if I'm taking space? Or, right, like going into like those fears and those stories and those judgments, when it's like, no, I'm choosing to open up space to allow the universe to go to work for me. To allow my higher self and his higher self and whoever's higher selves are involved in all of this, they get to come to, like, I'm going to take a step back and allow them the space to come in and commune and get clear on what gets to happen, and then we'll come back in.
Yeah.
That's
That's where the amazing stuff happens. Like, seriously. Like, my big win is I just got a new car because I did that. Totally took a step back.
You
So,
locked it in. Did you lock
I pretty much all locked in. Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, literally having things happen that way, like, taking the step back and being totally okay with, like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to let other things work for me and in my behalf. That's where the miracles happen. Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's
incredible.
awesome. Congratulations on the new whip.
And you guys, it's super cute and it's so her. It's
No, let me see if I'll show you a picture real quick since I'm outside.
upgrades, all around upgrades.
There we go. It's that one right there.
A cute little red whip.
Yep. It's my little go-kart on wheels.
Yeah. So you. Yeah, that is so much more you than that, like a Mazda 66 or something.
Which is funny because that's exactly the car I had before this other one. So yeah, no. I wanted this one for a while, but like people are like, it's too small. Like you can't like have people ride with you or carry stuff around. I'm like, well, I never do that anyways.
Yeah, whatever.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love
Totally
it.
celebrating you, Michelle.
Thanks, Cindy.
Totally celebrating you too.
Yeah.
One other thing that I wanted to speak to on the push-pull that's been going on with you and your husband, like that tug of war. A visualization that helped me when I was in that same space with Jeff was I visualized myself mentally, like the brain piece of me. I went through a visualization of me dropping the rope. I dropped the rope.
Okay.
Because when I dropped the rope, he then had nothing to pull against.
Mm.
And I knew that energetically everything that I was doing was going to work for me. And I didn't need to have the conversations. Like I didn't need to figure it all out in here. So whenever I would go into trying to figure it out, instead I would choose into that visualization of I'm going to drop the rope. Because when I drop the rope and I stand like as the goddess that I am, that tug of war, the war ends. When I walk on the battlefield and I drop that rope, the war ends.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nothing to pull against.
Nothing to pull against.
Nothing to dig the heels in.
Yeah, and knowing that simply the way that you are being is enough.
Yeah.
It's enough. You don't have to drag him along.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to carry that weight of I've got to be doing my progression and his progression. Like, right? You don't.
Doesn't that just sound tiring? You're like, oh my
exhausting.
gosh. I can do progression enough for one and not even most of the time then. So for two.
Yeah, too much.
And to go along with what Amanda said too is also drop the tug of war with yourself. Like be okay that you might not be okay that he's not coming along. Like sometimes we're trying to force ourselves to surrender. I just have to surrender because if I surrender, I'll get there. But like, you know what? Sometimes it's like just saying, hey, guess what? I love the fact that this bothers me. I'm okay with the fact that this bothers me right now. I'm okay with the fact that right now it makes me so mad that he's not moving and I'm moving. And I feel like this. Like sometimes I get into that fight with myself of no, but I have to be okay with this and I have to surrender. And guess what? The same way when you try to pull someone else along, they dig their heels in. Same way with yourself. If you're trying to force yourself along to get to this higher level of consciousness, this higher space, and well, it'll all be okay if I surrender. Guess what? There's that part inside of you like, well, I don't want to, and I'm really not okay. But being like, hey, guess what? You're not okay, and that's okay. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, hey, okay, we can go here. Like, to really be okay. Like, if there's a piece of you that isn't okay with this or is having a hard time, be like, hey, you know what? I love you too. I love the fact that you're showing up. I love the fact that you're speaking this. Because it does the exact same thing that Amanda's talking about. You drop the rope with the war inside of yourself. And all of a sudden, all of you gets to work together and move along. And if there's pieces of you that don't want to go, that is okay. Okay, I'm having a hard time with this, and that's okay. And I still love you, and I love that I'm having this experience. Yeah. So.
Good stuff. Oh, I see Kira.
Is she here?
I just saw her face for a second. Cindy, I want to appreciate you. Thank you for opening up so much and being willing to receive like what Michelle had to say, like, you know, some of my take on it. Like, thank you so much. Thank you for being willing to receive and take what lands for you and drop the rest that doesn't. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I just love being able to spend a little bit of time with you guys. So thank you for all the input. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Kira, I see that you are outside.
Yes.
Do you want to go next, babe?
Yes.
Yay! Perfect.
Okay.
Do you want me to go through your form, or do you want to just? Cause I've got it pulled up here. Or do you want? We can just dive in. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's still the same.
Still the same. Okay, so your biggest struggle right now is that you are in in the wave of depression.
Yeah.
Is that what you're feeling?
Mhm. I love what Michelle was just barely saying about surrendering and being okay not surrendering, because I've been really trying. But it's so hard. So I don't know. That's just pretty much where I am right now.
So sometimes when we make this really big commitment that, all right, I'm choosing greater for my life. When we step into that in a big way, we are oftentimes met with that big resistance. And you've definitely been hit with a lot of resistance lately. You've had stories of and even like programming that came from the way that you were raised, right? Religious background programming, like all of those things that are bumping up against, like, that you are literally are being thrown in your face right now. And you've gone into questioning like your worth and your value, and can I do this, and am I doing this right, and like all of these questions and all of this judgment of, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid that I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah.
And if this story of, if I don't do it right, that means I'm not lovable. It means I'm fundamentally flawed. It means, right, like this, and this of what it must mean. And so you have, like, try this on. So you've made your declaration. You've made your commitment. You have financially invested, and you are taking those steps. And can you allow yourself grace in the process? Meaning, you don't have to do it all perfect right now. Meaning that the action steps that you're taking right now are absolutely perfect. And when you feel like all you want to do is like not get out of bed and feel sad and not do a damn thing, that's really okay too. Because you have been fighting this tug of war. And let's be honest, it's not been a tug of war. It's been an all-out freaking bloody battle inside of you for years. And when you made that declaration, that's when you declared that you were dropping the rope. And now it's like there's all this carnage inside of you, and it's like, what do I even do with this? Maybe you get to rest for a minute before you figure out anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Because maybe the story of depression is simply just your soul calling out saying, hey, we're really tired. And we really get to have some nurturing. And we really just get to rest, because this war has been bloody and it's been painful and it's damn near annihilated us.
Because the big thing that's coming up for me, Kira, because like the depression, oh man, that one, I feel like there's a lot of emotions that I'm like, oh cool, like anger's here, oh this one, or even anxiety. But like when depression hits, that's when I still get to the point where I'm like judging myself massively harshly for. So I'm like, well, no, I can't be here. I have to be doing something. but also knowing when you made that commitment to yourself, you're also committing to doing something different. When you're committing to having something new, you're committing to doing something different. So it feels uncomfortable because you're not doing the same things that you did before. And so it's growing and expanding into this new place. And you're also coming into this place of trust and surrender. But we live in a culture that tells us, well, no, I have to do something. I have to fix it. Because if I don't do something and I don't fix it, because it's very patriarchal and very masculine driven. And so depression's hardest for me because I have the recurring thoughts in my head, but if I'm not doing anything, nothing will change. And if nothing changes, that means I'm going to stay in this place right now that I'm feeling forever. And that this is going to happen. And that more of what I don't want is going to keep perpetuating in my life. So I can't be here because I don't want to be living this any longer. And so that's why depression hits so hard for me, because I feel like it's telling me, you're going to stay here forever. You're going to be feeling these yucky feelings, this emptiness inside. This war is never going to stop. And I have to do something in order to make this war stop. And truthfully, the war and the pain stops when we stop. And all the depression is just trying to tell you, hey, it's just time to stop for a little bit. Like Amanda said, and take that step back and nurture. Like when you take that step to really nurture and love yourself and to really like let yourself fully feel, because of everything that you've been through, there's a lot that you get to feel. Maybe a lot of emotions that haven't been expressed and fully gone through. But when you're able to do that, like I realize that like even sometimes when I sit still, I'll have sadness come up. And I'm like, where did this one come from? Why do I feel sad? And I don't even know. But sometimes it's hard to sit and be still because there's emotions that get to be felt and witnessed that haven't. And sometimes those aren't always the funnest to be with, because for me, my old thought pattern comes in like, oh, but if I feel this, I'm going to stay here. I'm just going to perpetuate it. I need to be happy, because if I don't, then I'm going to manifest more sadness and I'm going to manifest more of this in my life. Well, when the opposite is actually true. So when that voice comes up, like whatever it's telling you, to tell you why this depression isn't okay, to be like, to try on maybe looking at it as a different, like as your friend, that maybe it's not coming in to tell you that your life isn't good enough or you're not feeling or you're not doing it right, but really it's coming up to like, hey, you've been doing so good and now you get to rest, you get to nurture, and you get to do some things that really love yourself. Because it's from that point where we let ourselves go to work and we let the universe go to work in our behalf. It is scary to trust that. There are still times where I'm like, I don't really know. But then I go back to, yeah, but it showed up for me this time. And when I took a break and I let go, it showed up for me this time. So to kind of let my mind know when it's telling me nothing's going to change, it's okay. It showed up for me, and I'm just going to trust that it's going to show up for me right now. And that me trying to work it out, I had 30 years of me trying to work it out that didn't work. So then when that voice comes in like, no, we have to do something, we have to change it, I'm also able to tell it, hey, guess what? We had the evidence of what that looked like here. And we want something different now. So I get that you're uncomfortable, and I get that this feels not good, but we're just going to try something different. And I sometimes still tell my mind, and if that's not okay with you, we're going to give it, some time. And if you don't like the results of this, you can go back and try that. We know what that looks like. We can jump back into that anytime that you want. But even telling myself that I can go back to the old way that I used to be lets me settle down and be okay. It's like, oh, okay, she says that I can go back. Not that I can't ever go back, because you always want what you can't have, right? Well, I still let myself, even though it's terrible, I know, right? As terrible as that is, I still tell myself, though, if you want what you had back then and you want to go back there, I will let you. But we've tried that. This is what we know we're going to get. Why are you willing to try something different? And just giving myself the option to choose literally changes everything. Oh, okay. Same thing for us. If we're trying to pull and force ourselves to a new spot, that fight is insane in my head. And so then it's like when the depression shows up and when the fight shows up, it's like, cool, here's your choices. You can go back here, but would you be willing to try this? Because we know what that's going to give us. And we said we want something different. So would you be willing to give yourself a different experience and a different choice this time? You can go back anytime you want. Even that little conversation literally changes it in my head to where I'm not like, because like I get like crazy fights inside me. Like I feel like I literally have like World War III going on inside my chest, and my head will go like crazy. And if you know how fast I talk, I can think 3 times faster than that. Like, guys, I think I talk slow. So, and it's literally like, I'm so tired. But literally just getting in like, hey, mind, you can keep going if you want. Hey, you can do this. Just giving myself the choice. It's me dropping the rope so I don't have to keep going.
Yeah, that's for sure. Very comforting in a really weird, twisted way, because
Right?
we know that moving forward it's better, we'll be in a better place, we'll be happier.
Yeah.
But it's so comforting knowing, like, oh yeah, I know what this is like. I know that, I can survive here. I don't want to be here forever.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
And you were doing amazing. Like, you were doing amazing, Kira. Like, definitely want to honor you for the path that you're taking and you're continuing to take, and knowing that it's not easy.
Yeah.
And literally, like, having my foundation ripped from me and having everything that I thought was real wasn't, and changing things was probably the most painful thing that I've ever been through. So, like, I definitely want to honor you for the path that you've taken and how well you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're doing a great job. And I also want to put this out there. You and I have been, like, trying to sync up. And I want you to know that I'm still willing to sync up. Okay? So I feel like there's some other stuff that we could probably dive into and support you in moving through some of, like, the emotion around that. That would probably really serve just like a one-on-one. So let's after this call, shoot me a message and let's get something on the calendar. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Cool.
And one of the things that I noticed too when I'm in that deep depression is being around other people helps. So I know Matt probably open for it too, but if you just like want a time to get together.
Oh yeah, just come down
Be in
and let's just do that.
Yeah, come get in person. Like, that's
I would
something for
love
me
that.
sometimes feeds my soul, is just to, like, because I love calls. Like, I love being able to connect, but there's something about, like, actually being able to touch the person and to be in each other's space that really changes things.
Yeah.
So
I'm totally open to that too. So
Yes.
cool.
How about that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, we have about 12 minutes left, and we have, I think Annette is still on with us.
Yep.
Annette, is there
Yeah.
anything that you would love some support around?
Oh. Yes.
Sweet!
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Anyway, my phone did something weird, but anyways, I'm listening. At least I can't see you, but just support, like what you and I've talked about. But for others that don't know, it's in my biggest tug of war right now. Is the relationship that I'm in. My boyfriend, we broke up, or I broke up with him, and I don't know if we're taking a break or we broke up. But it doesn't really matter, I guess, right? So what do you call it? But it's, just support around taking, loving myself and my relationship with myself first. And he and I aren't, really speaking. It's not that we're like not on speaking terms, but we're taking this time, and I get crazy in my head, like, oh my God, are we ever going to talk again? What is he thinking? Is he like moving on? Is he, like all this crazy in my head. And what's been working, what I share with everyone else too, is that just being accountable to doing my self-care, and which right now is making sure I do my grounding meditation at least once a day. I'm doing a manifestation practice for myself, and that involves writing, taking the time to write and being committed to myself first. So, everything around that, I guess. And then, but eventually needing to have a conversation with him when the time is right, and what that conversation is going to look like. Is he the one? Do we keep going? Do we just end it? Cut our losses? It's that. And we keep cycling around. But I'm actually, like, today, what I said, like my moment, my light bulb, like, yes, that's it, was who really gives a rip what anybody else says? We had like we had a graduation party to go to, and which we were both invited to. We went, he was there. I told myself in my head, oh, he's probably not going to go, so I'll go. But of course he was there. And then I was like, what do I do? Just awkward. We didn't talk. And he left like probably 10 minutes after that. And my daughter, in her 18 years of wisdom, she's like, Mom, you totally intimidated him by being there. He didn't think we'd show up, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's kind of funny, but yet still, I don't know. It was awkward, and it really, what I realized after the fact was that it stirred up so much emotion for me. And I feel like for him, it was like, there's that connection that's still there. Like, it's undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do I do with all that? But yeah, I guess just really focus on myself and getting that much more committed to me first.
Yeah.
Staying there once, if we are deciding to continue whatever kind of relationship,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I get all stupid. Like, okay, no, I don't have any plans. I'll drop everything, run to you.
Yeah.
And no, bad idea.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the one thing that was coming through for me as you were speaking, one of the things that popped up. So
Mm-hmm.
I know you, right? We know each other. We've talked lots.
Yep.
And one of the things that you are absolutely brilliant at is like you will take a list and you will freaking conquer that list.
Yeah.
Like you will freaking move right through that list.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful and it's amazing. And you also get to allow yourself this time to feel. Allowing yourself the space to feel.
Yeah.
Because when you saw him, it stirred stuff. Right? And so when that stirs, can you be willing to allow yourself to mourn the pieces of you that feel sad?
Yeah.
Mourn the loss, because there are parts of your relationship that because you're stepping into a new place, you naturally are letting go of old ways.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there is a mourning because that was, we attached ourselves to that. Like, oh, that was a piece of me. That was a piece of who I am or who I was in the past. Oh, I get to let that go, meaning that was something that actually belonged to you, right? Yeah. So we've associated that, oh, that was a piece of me. So now I'm letting that go. Well, in the letting go, there's mourning, even if it's something you don't want. Right? Even when it's like, I don't even want that piece of me. I don't even like
but
it.
I'm sad.
Right?
I'm sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even want that crazy piece, but it was my crazy piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a level of mourning that gets to happen for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you be open to allowing yourself the space to mourn? Maybe, I know you love your list. Maybe you get to put on your list, I get to mourn today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get to feel today.
Yeah, it's scary stuff because it's all like, I'm like, gee, I'm worried about myself. I haven't, cried myself, but I do. I kind of have to say, you know what? It's okay. Just whatever you got to do, let it go.
Yeah.
Cry, whatever.
Yep. Let it go.
And I don't know you quite as well. Like, obviously, you've had tons of conversations with Amanda, and I love that this whole listing, but kind of goes through a little bit what came through for me when you were talking.
Yeah.
And like with what Amanda's saying kind of works is that I would work really to be present in the right now. It seems like just in how you're talking, it's very much like, oh, this was the past. Okay, this is going to be the future. And you spend a lot of time in those places.
Yeah.
But you probably avoid, and I'm with the listing kind of makes sense. Like, oh, well, I got to do this for this.
Mm-hmm.
But that maybe you might have avoided a little bit being in the right now.
Yeah.
Which would make sense because the right now is where all the feeling is.
Yes.
Right.
That's where all the emotion, that's where all the pain, but that's also where all the joy and all the happiness, all the magic happens too, is in the right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would focus on what you get to do to be really present with what's happening right now. So when the thought goes like, oh, this is going to be the future, or this is what happened in the past, and what do I have to do anything, to realize there's nothing that I have to do and get really present.
Yeah.
And I really have something that can kind of almost like a trigger thing that's like, maybe it's like, okay, I stop, I take 3 breaths, and I think about something that I love, or whatever it is that gets you very present the right now. Because I know because I can totally relate with you. Living in the past or in the future is used to be how I did everything. It's like, oh, well, this is what happened then, so I have to do this. And like everything was to avoid being right here, right now.
Yeah.
But when I got right here, right now, that's when, I felt a lot of emotion. For me, there was a lot of deep pain, a lot of sadness that I got to feel. But when I sat with that and I was with that and felt all that, that's when I also got some of my greatest inspiration, my greatest joy, my greatest the greatest things that I experience now came from being in the right now. Because truth of the matter is, there's never a time besides right now. Like there never is a time.
Exactly right. Yeah.
We can say it, we're like, oh no, but this, and we can make it up in our mind. But the truth of the matter, there will never be a time than right now. And most people spend their entire lives avoiding being right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Kind of like the thing, like, oh, I have a plan, so I'm okay. Okay, can I be okay not having any plan at all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is, you may tell yourself you have a plan.
Yeah, it's never, I know. I had lots of plans.
I mean, really? Yeah, the plan, like, it just is, it's,
Yeah.
It's false security appearing real, really.
Right.
Like,
yes. Yeah.
One of the things that, as Michelle was talking, that in the times when, because I go through waves even now of like, I will really be in the past or I'll really be in the future. And knowing that I get to really get myself present. And one of the tools that I have used for myself is at the top of the hour, I set an alarm on my phone.
Okay.
That goes off. And all I do at the top of the hour is I simply do a body scan. I take some breaths and I scan my body. And I'm like, okay, so I notice that I've got it's a little pressure behind my eyes. There's some constriction in my throat. There's some sadness. I'm noticing like some heaviness in my chest. Feels like sadness, right? Like simply just doing a body scan and notice what you notice. That is a really powerful place to just literally bring you present. And you're bringing yourself present, because I mean you could sit outside and be like, okay, there's a pink flower and there's a green tree and that rock's gray, right? And even just speaking those things, that will bring you present. Okay, so you can do different things like that, but I love doing the body scan because it didn't just bring me present, but it also allowed me to connect with myself.
Okay.
Because our bodies are always talking to us, giving us messages, and our bodies will never lie.
Right.
And so it was a good time for me to just, at the top of the hour, in those times when I'm feeling that whirlwind and I'm wanting to either be in the present or the past, to just scan my body and be with that, knowing that there was nothing I needed to do with it either.
Right. It just acknowledge.
Like my body just simply wanted to be acknowledged. Hey, we're carrying a weight for you right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe give that a shot. See how that works. If it feels good to you, feel into that, right?
Yeah.
That feels expansive. Give it a shot.
That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
I appreciate you being here on the call with us. And
I'm so excited to get to know you.
Oh, this girl, seriously. Oh, this woman. I love her. So, and I love all of you. And Michelle, and I wasn't sure if we were going to see you today. I'm so happy that we got to see you today. And I'm happy. I appreciate
Me too. I apologize for being.
I totally appreciate the work that you did last night.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for showing up in the beautiful woman and goddess that you are. I love running next to you. So
I feel the same about you. Couldn't have a better partner.
Love it. All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour, so we will wrap. But before we do, those of us that are still on, I would love to simply just take one big giant breath together. And as we breathe in all of the yummy and the goodness. And as we breathe out everything again that just our higher self gets to just go to work for us on. So if everybody will just take a deep breath in. And then out. And know that you are each so very loved by me. I love you all. All right. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and you can post them there in the forum. Annette will make sure that you are added to that. And
Yes.
yeah, all good things. So, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Love you, ladies. We'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye.